This is our Athens trip in January 2024, our scouting trip. We went for 9 days. It was beautiful, magical, and the flight wasn't so bad. Definitely on British Airways, and it was smooth. When we got in, it was very late, and the views from our hotel were spectacular. This is from the balcony, and this is the other direction of the balcony too. I believe that's Hadrian's Arch. Beautiful. This was our 3 a.m. in the morning because we were jet lagged, first meal in Athens, and it was amazing. Highly recommend. And again, this was on top of the rooftop of our hotel. That's just a beautiful sight to see when you first get into Athens. I just couldn't have pictured that our hotel would have been such a great place for as cheap as it was. And then we're going to the archaeology museum here, so you'll get a lot of shots from this particular place. It was like a 25-minute walk, so we walked there and we walked all around the museum and just took in the absolute beauty that is housed within it. Ah, Moussaka, my favorite. And then this was Monastiraki Square. And then we headed out to the Acropolis. We went up to the Parthenon and took that beautiful walk. It was January, so was not crowded at all. And we got to see spectacular views from the top of the Acropolis. And then this olive tree. This olive tree, they have had this olive tree here for thousands of years, and it's just derivative of the same olive tree that was originally planted here thousands of years ago. One of the best things I really enjoyed about being in Athens was that history was all around you. There was no questioning that these buildings have stood for thousands of years, and they will still remain thousands of years after we're gone. And there is my wonderful husband, the statue, pinnacle of amazingness. We went to another museum after this. I believe this is the Acropolis Museum. More shots of all of our food. Oh my goodness, loukoumades, oh, so good. Spanakopita. We had like a lovely little lunch at a cafe, and then we had the spot that was right across from the hotel pretty much that we went to on a regular basis for breakfast, and that was the breakfast kitty. This is the Port of Piraeus. That was beautiful. Oh my goodness, all the cats though, all the cats. The water at Piraeus though was so clear. Like, look at how well you could see those fish. And just beautiful everything all around us. Absolutely loved it there. I could have stayed for hours. Beautiful water. It was just like it was portrayed in like videos and photographs that you see, and I was really happy to see that. And the views, my goodness, I could just sit there forever. And then we of course went back, and this is just more photos that we took of just wandering around after, you know, checking out all the sites. Ah, the gyros, oh my goodness, everything, all the food here was amazing. We did not have a bad meal at all. Yeah, that was our kind of 9 days in Athens. A lot of food, a lot of archaeological sites, and just experiencing the people and how beautiful it was there, even in the middle of January. We had just come from an ice storm, so this was perfect weather for us. We had hoodie weather the entire time. And everybody, all the Greeks kept apologizing for how bad the weather was, and we had to tell them, no, it was great. But yeah, that is my section. And then Valentine's going to come in and tell you about his summer.
Hello. So I'm Valentine, and like Diane said, I went back in the summer of 2024. And we're going to start with a couple of photos from the trip. Diane has a special place in her heart for Toblerone. So at the airport in Amsterdam, there were quite a number of Toblerones available. My luggage being loaded onto the plane. It was one of those things, when you have a bright pink suitcase, it's easy to see your bag being loaded on, and it was kind of exciting for reasons I can't explain. Then I was just taking photos as I was walking up to the apartment that I was staying in while I was in Greece for the summer, and this was the view looking back down the stairs. There were a lot of stairs. I grew to hate those stairs, and then I got used to them, so it was mostly okay. I grabbed some snacks the first night, and these were flavors of chips that I had never seen, so I got really excited and had to buy them. They were extremely cheap too, I think maybe €1, €1.50. The bedroom, just some shots of the apartment. Street art is big in Athens and Greece in particular, well, in Athens in particular, and I was on the lookout for interesting street art while I was wandering around. This is an art store, which is important to me. Well, not the art store in particular, but art stores in general, because I am an artist and I needed to remember to look them up. Those are two good dogs. This was the hill that was behind my apartment. There's a little, I think it's a monastery, or at least the overlook at the very top. And I had walked down to the game store, so I took a couple of shots so that I could get a sense for how far I had walked that day. Nothing particularly exciting. Oh, the Parthenon on top of the Acropolis. Always a good sight. It's really nice knowing that nothing in Athens can be taller than the Acropolis, so that you can use it as a kind of an anchor so that you always know where you are in relation to everything else. At least that's how it works in my mind. This was my first breakfast. Diane insisted I send her photos of food while I was there. And she's big on breakfast, unlike myself, so I thought she'd get a kick out of it. Kitties. This was in a metro station. Just ruins that they had excavated probably while building the underground. The first great meal that I had, when we were there in January, we found this little restaurant called Greek Stories. So I managed to navigate my way back to that, and I got a nice steak. Diane needs a sun hat, so I found her a giant floppy hat. I did not purchase it for her. I didn't know how I was going to fit it in my suitcase, but I think we can find it going back. This was the neighborhood we had stayed in when we were there in January. So that's Hadrian's Arch again, just from a daytime point of view. This was a street market, farmer's market. One of my first dinners after shopping, another breakfast. And then one of the things Diane was really big on, she made me promise I would go stick my feet in the sea. So I managed to get down to a good beach in Glyfada, and then, stuck my feet in the sea. And it was very much like a warm hug. I think I stood there for about 20 minutes. Just going around, checking out different neighborhoods to see where we might want to settle when we get back there. This is the Port of Piraeus. This was the, ferry that I was going to take out to the island of Syros for the day. I had great plans on going out to paint, but I couldn't find a nice shaded spot to paint. This is as we were leaving leaving Piraeus. And then we get to the island of Syros, and I think I took more photos on the island than anywhere else, just wandering around. I had all of my painting stuff with me, but there wasn't, like I said, anywhere to like really set up and get a good view. The water is again amazing. It was a really hot day, but in the shade it wasn't too bad. So I ended up like this little guy here, just setting up in a shaded area and enjoying the cool breeze of the day. And the ferry ride home, just taking pictures of the open sea. Then this was my last full day in Athens. I went back to the Queen Bee, which is where I had been having breakfast for the time I was there. And then we should get a shot here of their outside with their little logo. And that was my last breakfast. And then my last meal was another giant steak at Greek Stories. So yeah, we're looking forward to going back in a couple of months, I think. So you'll have more photos coming soon. And don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we'll see you next time.